So how do we do the financial forecasting? Remember, the first step is compile a realistic set of assumptions about every aspect of the business. Now, friends, remember, as regards the exam, you do not have to worry about. Why do you do not have to worry about? Because everything will be given to you in the exam. So the amount of FCFE would be given to you, the amount of FCFF would be given to you. So everything will be given to you in the question itself. So most of the information is already available. You do not have to do it by yourself. But as a valuer, as a professional valuer, that is what we need to know as to how do I do the financial forecasting. So the starting point is compilation of a realistic set of assumptions about every aspect of the business. What aspect? What is my installed capacity? What is my planned utilization over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, as maybe the duration in my mind. What is my average selling price? What is going to be my price mix? What is going to be my product mix, market mix? All those assumptions I will need to compile in the form of a set of assumptions. How much is going to be my domestic sales, export sales? What are my assumptions about the material consumption? So how much is going to be my yield? How much is going to be my material cost? How much is going to be my consumption of the material? What is going to be my procurement price? What is going to be my yield? What is going to be my wastage? So this is all I need to put in place, and assumption about other expenses such as maintenance and everything. So basically, if you remember, in the very beginning we had done a profitability analysis, and that's where we started with the gross profit. From the gross profit we minus the material cost, and then we minus the manufacturing expenses, then we minus the SG&A, depreciation, amortization. So set of assumptions for the purpose of financial forecasting will have to give everything readily available with you. So that is number one that we need to do for the purpose of for the purpose of the financial forecasting. All right. And then next step is having done that. So now what you have done for the purpose of making financial projections, for the purpose of finding out as to what is your FCFE, what is your FCFF, for the purpose of finding out the present value, what is the next thing that you do? Assuming that you are doing it for a project. So what you need to do, you need to compile the project and the project cost. So since we are covering the entire process, I thought let me not confine only from the perspective of for the perspective of evaluation, but let us also look at from the perspective of project planning. So that is the step number two. What is your project cost? Each and every component of the project cost you need to list down. What is my land cost? What is my building cost? What is my plant and machinery cost? How much is my other fixed assets? What is my working capital margin? How much is the contingency that I need to have? How much is the provisions that I need to make? Everything you need to put in the form of your project cost, so that you know how much is going to be your investment. That means basically how much is going to be your requirement of the capital. After that, then you come to the revenue estimation, obviously. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to compute the FCFE and FCFF. So not only we need to know what the costs are, what the expenses are, we also need to know what is going to be my revenue for the duration of the projections, or for the duration of the valuation. So here what we need to do, for the entire period you need to find out what is that you're going to sell, what is going to be your, as you have seen under the first point, assumption, selling price, product mix, price mix, and all that you will need to convert in terms of sale. So what is going to be my sale for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and that is what you do at the point number 3. Point number 4, estimation of the expenses. So you will need to estimate, based on the assumptions that you have listed in point number 1, you will need to estimate how much is going to be my material cost, how much is going to be my manufacturing expenses, how much is going to be my SG&A, selling, general and administrative expenses. So you will have to, as part of your financial forecasting exercise, you will need to find it out. You will need to find it out and then plug them into the Excel sheet so that you are able to find out your cash flow. So after the fourth stage, then what you do? Then you do the computation of depreciation and depreciation under the income tax as well as the Companies Act. So we already know it that for the purpose of the reporting, for the purpose of financial reporting, we need to calculate depreciation, which is as per the Companies Act. But for the purpose of income tax, we need to calculate the depreciation as per the income tax. And that is what you will need to do. And why you will need to do? Because only when you compute the depreciation as per the Companies Act and as per the Income Tax Act, you will be able to find out as to what is going to be your tax liability at the end of the year. And that will help you to arrive at the figure of profit after tax or income after tax or earnings after tax, as we have discussed in the context of profitability. Now what you do? Now you do the estimation of working capital. Obviously, and how do you do the estimation of working capital at point number 6? So internally, the management and the operating people within the company will need to list down how many months of inventory we would need to carry, how many months of credit we would give to our customers, how many months of credit we would be able to get from our suppliers, right? And how many months or days of work in progress we will have with us at any given point in time. So you will need to discuss internally and set certain norms and standards. Based on that, you would be able to figure out the amount of working capital that you will need in your business. Now, why do you need the amount of working capital in your business? You need the amount of working capital in your business, number 1, for the financial planning, number 2, for the funds planning, and number 3, for knowing as to how much is going to be your interest cost on account of working capital. So that is the step number 6 that you will do as part of your financial forecasting. Having done this, now what you do? And remember, we are going in a very systematic manner. As you can see, if you remember the statement, gross sales minus material cost minus manufacturing expenses gave you gross profit. From the gross profit, you minus the SG&A, it gave you the EBITDA. From the EBITDA, you minus the depreciation and amortization, it gave you EBIT. So we are going absolutely in that sequence. So having done the revenue and estimation of the expenses and also depreciation, now what you do? You find out your finance cost. How much is going to be your finance cost? So your finance cost is going to be combination of finance interest on working capital and interest on the term loan, right? So both of them put together is going to be your total finance cost. So for finding out how much is your interest cost on working capital, you do the estimation of working capital. And then what you do, you also need to find out how much is your interest burden going to be over the life of the project as regards the term loan that you may have taken. So what you need to do, you need to find out how much will be the opening balance at the beginning of the year, how much is going to be the repayment in that year, how much is going to be my closing balance, and based on that, for all the years, you would be able to find out interest cost on the term loan. Incidentally, this portion is there in the case study that we are going to solve after this. Having done all this, you have come to the figure of EBT, right? Isn't it? So EBIT, and you minus the interest cost, what you have come to the point of EBT. Now that you have come to the point of EBT, that is earning before tax, now what you need to do, you need to compute your tax. And for computation of tax, what you already have done, you have computed your depreciation as per the Companies Act, and you also have computed your depreciation as per the Income Tax Act. So take everything, all the information, find out as to what is going to be my tax liability over the duration of this project. So you will compute that tax liability, and you will write the tax amount figure that you would have computed following this process below the EBT, and you minus the tax figure from the EBT. What you get in your hand is your earning after tax. Now, so earning after tax, now what you need to do? Now you need to find out what is my FCFE, what is my FCFF, or what is my future free cash flow. So that is what you would do, and when we come to the case, we will understand it even more details. uh, then what you do now, you do the computation of a appropriate discount rate. What is the discount rate? Discount rate is your cost of capital, and I'm sure you would always remember, if you are using FCFF, free cash flow for firm, then you will need to use the WACC as discounting, as the discounting factor, or as the cost of capital. But if you are using free cash flow for equity, in that case you will be using cost of equity for the purpose of discounting. So that is your step number 11, computation of an appropriate discounting rate. Please remember, the notice it says appropriate discounting rate. And why it is saying appropriate discounting rate? It is saying appropriate discounting rate for the simple reason, because you have to remember as to which cash flow you are using. If you are using FCFF, remember you have to use the discounting by the cost WACC. And if you are using FCFE, in that case your discounting has to be by way of cost of equity, and that is the reason why it is saying appropriate discounting rate. And then of course, once you have this, assuming that you are doing it for a capex, in that case now you will need to find out your NPV, your IRR, and having found out the NPV and IRR, then you will need to check, is the project giving you NPV which is positive? Is the project giving you IRR which is more than your target IRR? If you see that happening, you accept the project. If you don't see that happening and you still want to do the project, then you will need to make certain adjustments. What adjustments? Obviously, since you are not getting NPV as positive, since you are not getting IRR as per your benchmark, then that means what? That means you need to do two things. Number one, you need to bring the project cost down, and number two, you need to improve the profitability. So you will need to revisit the entire project. Can I reduce the project cost? Because if you reduce the project cost, you will be able to reduce the borrowings. If you reduce the borrowing, your interest cost will go down. If your interest cost will go down, your profitability would improve, and that might result into the project becoming having positive NPV or having IRR which is as per your expectation. So this, friends, is the entire process of making financial projections or forecasting, financial forecasting. Remember, same process is followed for budgeting, same process is followed for the capex planning, and same process is also followed for the purpose of doing the valuations. Remember, for the examination you may not have to do all this because all the informations would be available readily, but in real life when you do the evaluation, this is what you will need to do. Sometimes you may not have to do it, the client will give you the information, but when the client is giving you the information, you will need to check all this information whether it is in the right format and whether it is the correct information or not. So with this understanding, friend, I can throw it open to all of you. In case if you have any doubt or any question, we will take that. And if there is no doubt or no question, then we would move to our case, that is case study number 5. Anyone, any doubt from any one of you? Please feel free.
Clear, sir. Everything is clear.
Okay, very good, Ankit. Sanjay, any doubt?
Can you show us point number 7?
Sure, of course. Yes, Sanjay, I will do that. Okay, so here is your point number.
I also got confused. So I think numbering is.
It's only the numbering is the okay. So there is no 7 number point. It's just
That's why I asked this question.
okay. Very good, very good. Oh,
Sir, in case of free cash flow to the firm,
yes.
interest is given for long-term debts and short-term for working capital. We have to consider only the long-term debts interest, no?
For the purpose of
FCFF.
for the purpose of FCFF. No, you will have to consider all the interest, Sanjay, because FCFF, remember, is the cash flow for the firm. That means you are going to use a cash flow which is going to be available for all the stakeholders. And when it says all the stakeholders, it means the lenders. And when it says lenders, it does not mean only the long term lenders, it means long term lender as well as the short term lender. So it both will be taken into account.
Okay.
Yep.
What is the what Tatum will give to the free